Yeah.
And I saw when y'all reunited, I saw somewhere, man, that y'all talked on the phone for 5 hours.
Yes.
Old school phones. Yeah, yeah. For people that don't know, for the younger generation that watches our show, there was a time there was a phone on the wall. Okay? And some of us who really go back, there was a time to dial a number, you would have to turn this circular thing to dial a number. Okay?
And you had some serious money to pay.
There were actually long distance charges, y'all. I mean, I want y'all to listen to me. Those who are my, I love y'all, my Gen Z, my millennials. There was a time, like I'm right outside of Philadelphia. If I was calling Los Angeles, there was an extra charge called a long distance fee. Can you imagine that? That you had to think about calling different parts of the country because the fees would go up. I know that's shocking your mind.
It was crazy. 5 hours, and you're thinking this is like over $1,000 maybe.
Right.
Of long distance, straight up 5 hour call.
Right.
Yeah, that's what we had to do back
then. And
you
had to sit in one place in the house. I mean, you could unless you had one of them super long cords, you couldn't just walk out the house, get in the car like we do now, take a walk, jog, walk the dog. You had to sit in that corner in your house unless some of us bought those super long cords so we could walk 25 feet.
Yeah, from the kitchen to the living room and come back with that cord.
That was a luxury. You told your friends, I got a super long cord. I'm walking around the house. So
man.
Oh my God. So yeah, she's such a blessing and just represents the brand and you guys so well. Let me ask you this for today's conversation. I believe you're very intentional in what you do in your career and Christ over careers and everything. And I think words mean a lot. Particularly from people that are intentional. And one of the words and phrases I've seen you use over and over again is calling the church back to its lordship.
Yeah.
Say more about why that is a focal point and phrase you use so often. And then maybe talk a little bit about what would that look like if it were achieved.
Ooh, that's nice right there. The understanding of Christ over career is that Christ over career is not the message. It's the result of a relationship with the King. And so when we talk about calling the church back to the lordship, the Bible tells us that we confess him as Lord, then we'll be saved. See, he can't be Savior unless he's Lord. Because Lord means that you're going to actually reverence him and do what he says. It's not a matter of what you think, what you can figure out, if you even understand it. Lord, and so when he speaks, you move.
That's right.
And see it's a kingship is like that. We don't understand because we have democracy. We have this thing called democracy, where you think that you have a vote and that you think that you vote people into power and vote them out of power, and when they don't do what you like, you talk about them. He's king. Right. And we are subjects. Now, the beauty of it is that we're children of the King. He's King of Kings, and we're children of the King, so we're kings as well. And so he wants us to be king over the earth, like he's king over the universe. But the only for us to be king over the earth is for us to follow the one who is the king over us. And if he doesn't reign us, if he doesn't rule us, he can't rule through us.
Yeah.
And the church has lost its understanding of being ruled. We don't understand that it is a blessing when it comes to the Lord to be a slave. We run away from that perspective because all we know of slavery is slavery under the dictatorship of malevolent people that are lost, people that are power hungry, people. We know the negative side of that, and so we only place the meaning from that context.
Yeah.
But the context of being a slave to the benevolent God, to the creator God, to the God who is love. Now, he doesn't just love, he is love.
He is love.
He is holiness. So he is righteousness, which means that he's always right and he always does the right thing.
Right.
So to be under the dictatorship of that person, where he can dictate to you, move left, move right, and because he's the one who said it, left is the best place, regardless of what happens there.
Yeah. Well, you said something key before you get to that next point of what it looks like, that losing of being a slave to Christ. I mean, how did we lose it? How do we get it back? Because all throughout the New Testament, once Paul has his road to Damascus moment, he uses that phrase often. I am a slave to Christ, right? And a lot of us in Christian world will reference, obviously, what God says in the Old Testament, what Jesus says through the first 4 books of the New Testament, but then a lot of us will refer to Paul, right? And so how did we lose it since Paul pronounces it so frequently?
We don't understand the context in which Paul speaks.